we live?
We are, okay, great. Just streaming to Facebook,
Sweet.
and I'm just gonna share it.
So where are we streaming this right now?
Streaming to the Facebook group,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna share it to Modern Yoga Teacher. No, I'm
So if
not.
anybody's watching, just please be patient as we share this to a couple different groups. We have a huge announcement to make, so hope you will stick around.
Great.
We good?
Yes.
Sweet. Well, Colleen Vosberg, Ryan Rockwell, excited to be live as usual. I know I've been kind of an absentee father for a little while. The last time I did a live was a couple weeks ago when we were doing the 2023 Yoga Teacher of the Year award. That was really cool. The guy Yash Godboll that won, super humble guy. He'd only been a yoga teacher for a year, so it was
Wow.
pretty crazy that he won the award. But yes, many of you know again that I have not been as engaged with modern yoga teachers as I have in the past, and there's a good reason for that. So if you've been following emails, you know that I've been getting more and more into the plant medicine space, and as I've always taught, follow your passion. People know when you're teaching from what you know versus what you love. And there was a very long period of time where I absolutely loved talking to yoga teachers about how to grow their businesses and how to change more lives, how to create programs that were more transformational, and how to do the work that you love full time. And, I had a lot, I'll be very transparent. I had some personal demons that I was dealing with, and plant medicine was incredibly beneficial for me. And so as I started to, have this journey and fall more and more in love with what was happening in my life, I wanted to share this with others. And so that's one of the reasons that I've kind of withdrawn myself. And so I wanted to find the perfect person that would take over my shoes. And I definitely feel like I've found that. And Colleen Vosberg, we found each other. The interwebs put us together. And I wanted to find someone that I felt like would honor the whole yoga teacher journey. I want to be clear there. My weakness was I was really most of it online. I was teaching yoga teachers primarily how to grow, their audience and how to get people into their programs through the online method. Wasn't honoring the in-person connection. COVID definitely didn't help things, but I wanted to find someone that I felt like has been a yoga teacher, has gone through that journey, has also been a yoga marketing and business coach, so knows how to honor that journey. And so that's why I brought Colleen on, and she has officially bought Modern Yoga Teacher, and she is now the new owner. So
Thanks,
welcome.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love what you said about following your passion, because that's exactly what I did and what brought me to the yoga space. I know that I was a nurse for many years, 17 years in the emergency room. And right when I became a nurse, I actually found like Rodney Yee on a Gaiam video, like in the middle of northern British Columbia, and started practicing yoga. And I did that for quite some time, ended up moving to the city, continued to advance my career in nursing. But yoga was like always there. And I remember I finally got to practice in a studio, which was really great instead of just the upstairs bedroom. And I ended up signing up for yoga teacher training, something I wanted to do forever and ever and ever. And like weirdly enough, ended up signing up and getting like shortlisted into med school. And I thought that was kind of the way to go. Become a doctor, make a lot of money, not have to do all of the work, which is what I thought nurses did, which I mean, they kind of do, but anyways. And I had signed up for yoga teacher training already, and I'd paid for it. And I remember they said, like, Monday you start in med school, and Friday, the Friday before the Monday, is yoga teacher training. So I asked for my money back. Of course, no, you're not getting it back. So I went to yoga teacher training and thought, I just want to be better at yoga. And I don't want to be a teacher, anything like that. And I remember by the end of teacher training, it was a 4 month, like part-time. I said to my teacher, I think I've made a mistake. But I mean, I'm still paying off med school. She said everything happens for a reason. And I remember thinking like, well, as a like as an ER doc, I'm gonna make $20,000 a month. You know, yoga teachers are broke. There's no way that I can actually leave being a doctor to be a yoga teacher. And it was just the way she said it. She was like, you know, Glenn, just come up with a number and then make that number. And I said, okay. So I continued to go to med school and I continued to be a nurse and I started to grow my yoga business. And there came a time where I was making almost as much as I was making in nursing, and I needed to do something. So I ended up hiring a business coach. And within 3 months of hiring her, I quit med school. I quit nursing and I started making $20,000 as an in-person teacher. I mean, it kind of worked out well for me. I ended up teaching kids, which was a very lucrative business at the time. Meditation was brand new, so I was able to kind of like workshop a lot of what I was teaching. But
Did you say
I haven't
meditation
looked
was new?
newer.
Well, I didn't even know that you made $20,000 as a yoga teacher. You know, I can just imagine so many teachers that are going to hear this recording and be like, bullshit, bullshit. And I need to say this real quick. I have to say it. Many of you know that I brought on Amber Hagberg a little while back to be the CEO. And maybe I'm sure some of you were caught off guard. Maybe like you're caught off guard today. But for whatever reason, you know, this audience did not really take to what Amber was teaching. And I don't know if it was because it was more of the same of teaching how to become basically like an online coach and how to create online programs and how to enroll people in that. But again, that's why I feel like we needed to have whoever was going to step into this role needed to be very well versed, not only in that space, but of course in the in-person, because the yoga teacher journey, no matter what, you're not just starting online. You're starting teaching classes and you're trying to get your confidence and your skill set. And whoa, got dizzy for a second. By the way, y'all, Colleen lives in Costa Rica, so she could not be more authentic as a yoga teacher. Um, but yeah, speak more about that. You know, you said about your experience. Can you talk about maybe like how long you taught in person classes, you know, maybe doing retreats and teacher training, stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, that I think that that has been like part of the journey is moving all the way through in person. So it started with a lot of teaching in-person classes for like $32 an hour, which I quickly figured out, I mean, this isn't going to work. So I started workshopping everything. I mean, when it came to kids yoga, you weren't just paying $32 for a class, you were paying $32 per class. Right. And that was happening with the meditation, and all of the people were cycling in from my classes, bringing their kids to my classes or whatever that looked like. And then, of course, I mean, I had all these people coming. Why don't we start running retreats in Costa Rica? So I started coming here way back in 2017 when I finally made the leap. And it's not like I was running a lot of retreats. It was one retreat a year, and I was able to fill it from the people that were in my classes. And then slowly there started to be more. I started offering some coaching, like yoga coaching, people making life changes based on the philosophy of yoga. And then one day I took a really big leap and I sold everything I owned, and I went to Peru and then I landed here in Costa Rica again. And that was rather jarring because at least back home I had a following. But if I was just running one retreat a year, that was no way to bring in all the money I needed to. So I had to
Yeah.
like rebuild in the online space. And then, of course, here in Costa Rica with a transient community. So it's
Very
been like
transient.
a journey of all the different ways, like, what about this? Well, what about that? And, you know, I eventually made my way into the yoga teacher training space, which was sprinkled in along the whole journey too, because of my anatomy expertise. You know, I've taught the anatomy in I've taught in over 200 teacher trainings in the
Wow.
last 10 years. Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
That's
And then
incredible.
eventually started co-facilitating, and then people want to take teacher trainings from their teacher, so, and then I created a product-based business based on, mala beads and all of that. So we kind of like hit many of the markets to be bringing in an income.
Sure. Well, so let's Colleen, obviously we've talked about you and I behind closed doors about the future of modern yoga teacher and how you plan to take over. And one thing, I don't want to steal her thunder, but Colleen is going to provide value for the next 3 months without anything asking for $1. She just wants to provide value and earn your trust. And I don't know if you want to speak more to that, but this goes, I mean, you were just talking about in person and then the importance also of being online. And no matter what you do, the conversation is often going to start online before it starts in person. In the same way that, let's say you're traveling to a new area. Maybe you're on vacation, you want to find a yoga studio in the area. What do? You go to Google. You're not doing smoke signals or stopping people on the street, like you're going to start your journey online before someone actually meets you in person. And it's the same thing if you're a yoga teacher and you're teaching your local area, people are probably going to find you online first before they actually find you in person. And so what we're trying to do, and this even goes to literally the logo design, everything that we built with Modern Yoga Teacher was to honor this 5,000-year-old practice combined with the state of the world that we live in right now. So if you look at the logo, you have the lotus flower that's in the center that represents that 5,000-year-old practice. And then you have a power button that surrounds it. Again, we're not saying that online is better. In person is always going to be queen or king. But again, we need to honor that most people's journey for anything, especially yoga, is probably going to start online.
I mean, back in the day when I first started, I was running all of these classes. I remember looking around and yeah, people had Facebook pages, but nobody had a website. And I remember when I started coaching people, it was like, but once they found you, like, how are they going to find you in the other studios? Because I had my business name, but I wasn't teaching as my business name. I was teaching as Clint Vosberg. So how are they going to make the link? Well, I started connecting them through Facebook and then promoting my website. So you could go on and see that I was teaching, in this town at this time, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I was teaching in this town at this time. And then anytime I was guest teaching or running workshops, because that was a huge part of my income, that was all readily available, as well as the online space of Facebook and events, because we can't offer events on Instagram. Like, Facebook has always been very vital for letting people know where I am, what I'm doing on the online space, as well as in the in-person space. So I couldn't agree more. Like, it really starts here.
Well, and so going back to that idea again of Colleen's going to be providing value over the next 3 months, tell us what you want. Tell us what you need. I'm not just dropping ship, and I'm not going to, ever be involved in any way, shape, or form. First off, I want to support Colleen as she takes over. We're probably going to jump on a few more live calls over the next couple of weeks. And I guess I want to get the engagement back up. I know that, again, as I said, I've been an absentee father. And I really was trying to find the person that was going to honor this audience and be able to provide the trainings and the teachings and the value and the content that y'all need. And the reality is that I don't know if you're familiar. I think Colleen, you and I have talked about this, that 68% of yoga right now is being practiced online. Statistically, 68% of yoga is being practiced online. I'm sure that's going to make some of you sad. But the reality, again, is that get in front of them online, that you can create that in-person connection in the same way that Colleen was talking about Rodney E. How did she start that connection? Whether there's a DVD on TV or online or something, it's a digital format that is hopefully there to eventually get an in-person connection. And that's really, if we really think about it, because we're so idealistic as yoga teachers. We're like, oh, it has to, the relationship has to be in this box. It has to fit this. My guru needs to be like this and has to do all these rules. Fuck, man, we put so much like boxes and rules and labels on things. Stop. Be open to creating an online presence and getting to know someone online and then creating an in-person connection. In the same way that people do, I mean, whether you support it or not, like digital dating, like Bumble or Tinder, like people have a conversation first before they meet. That's often what people need is they need to get a sense of who you are before they're ready to meet in person. Not everybody's ready to go on the first date, and just like meet up. So it's something that we need to kind of develop a skill set for. And I'll say this, if you are a yoga teacher and you want to do this work full time, you have to spend just as much time as you do teaching as you do prospecting to getting new clients. And it's just the truth. And I don't think it's just for yoga teachers. This is something that I've learned in the coaching space in general. You have to spend as much time as you do in your craft, coaching, as you do actually looking for new clients. It's important.
I agree. I agree with everything you're saying. One of the things when I first started doing this, I hired my own business coach, and I remember she was like, sales are your spiritual practice. I'm like, I'm not selling myself. That's disgusting. And then she was like, well, then good luck with that. And it really was like getting clear about who my ideal client was, and then making sure that my messaging is clear to them so that they know I'm talking to them. I mean, the business aspect was so important. And then part of that was becoming an expert. So it's not just the business. It's also if you're going to have a niche or a niche, I know they say in the US, or and you're going to get clear on who you're teaching, you also have to know what you're talking about. So I think
Yeah.
it's also important to be up on top of your trainings and like what you're offering and becoming the expert in that. And there is a really great way to do it. Instead of like when I first started, I was willy-nilly all over the place, taking teacher trainings here and doing this. And then it was like clear, well, I can't just take meditation teacher training and be teaching kids. Like I need to know more about kids. I need to be the kids expert here in my little town called Chilliwack.
Is
So
that where you're at now? Kilowatt?
that was where I really
Okay.
first started my career. And that's what I want to offer is like a really beautiful mix of the both. Like business, it's important, and selling is important. You can't live without selling. Like if you want to have a partner, you got to sell yourself. You just go like, I'm lazy and I don't do anything. Like they're like, okay, bye. Or maybe that's the sell, is like, so am I, and that's what I want in my life. But like moving on, then there's the other aspects. Like I'm an anatomy expert. I think it's really important that we have alignment and take care of our bodies. And then I've also really found a grounded way to teach the philosophy of yoga. So I want to share kind of like all of that, a wide breadth, business, our skills, anatomy, and then also the philosophy in a way that, to be honest, I think the modern yogi needs to understand, because when we're talking about this etherical stuff, it doesn't hit for everybody, right? When the chakras are energy vortexes, I mean, that's great, but when we start to figure out that like culturally appropriated in the 70s and assigned colors so that we could sell them more, that makes it like, oh, so we get to understand more about the chakras. And then we start to see that the chakras are actually plexuses of nerves in the body, and here's how they make sense. It starts to like speak to the yogi, not just the yoga teacher, but the yogi, not from this place of like, I'm a star seed, but from a place of like, here's how, if I'm in touch with my root chakra, it can help with my nervous system in general. So I'm not burnt out. Things like that.
Well, you're definitely an anatomy expert, and I feel slightly ashamed because most people, I got a bachelor's degree in yoga, and we spent a semester just on the you say chakras? How do you say it?
Chakras, yes.
Yeah, so that's the thing, man. When it comes to Sanskrit, you're just like, oh my God, like you've heard, it's like Ayurveda. Anyways, chakras, chakras, but you know, there's a lot of times when yoga teachers will not move forward because they're like, I don't know enough. And
Right.
that's why I think of this quote by Pema Chodron I've mentioned quite a bit is, if you're waiting for the perfect time to teach, it will never come. And that quote really did change my life, because I remember in 2012 I was just really taken back by the movie The Secret. It really honestly changed my life. And so I created a website that was a law of attraction forum and coaching program. I spent 6 months putting it together. I'm ready to launch. And then I'm like, who am I to be someone's coach? I still have problems every day. And after all that time and effort to put that website, I just let it go. Yeah. Yeah. And then it wasn't, again, literally until maybe 6 months later that I saw that quote: if you're waiting for the perfect time to teach, it will never come. And then what I realized is that that applies to so many different things in life, whether you're, entering a coaching program, whether you're starting your business, whether you're getting into a relationship, whether it's time to have a kid or not. Like, you can look back and say, oh, it was perfect timing, but it almost never feels like perfect timing in the moment. It doesn't. And that's the thing. Like, if you have put in your mindset, like, I want to grow my yoga business, I want to change more lives, I want to reach more people, but then like stuff comes up in your personal life, or you start having more bills than you anticipated. The thing is that if you can learn how to be successful when you have things on your plate, then instead of waiting until everything is off your plate, what happens when you wait till everything's off your plate, which almost never happens? But then, like, you wait to that moment and then you start getting busy, then it's really hard to start
Mhm.
growing your business. So it's like, there's now, now, if it feels like the right time, like, anyways, I just have a very passionate about this, because I've talked to so many yoga teachers who is very clear that they want to do this. It's very clear they want to grow their business. But for whatever reason, whether it was investing in themselves, investing in training, I think 9 times out of 10, it comes down to money. We're scared. But again, y'all don't have to fear, because for the next 3 months, Colleen will be providing nothing but value and content. So, and again, I'm not leaving y'all. I'm not just, completely stepping away. I want to guide Colleen, and as she takes over, we've been doing this for 8 years. We've had over, I think it was 120,000 yoga teachers across the globe that have watched one of our trainings.
Cool.
We've been able to touch a lot of people's lives. And a thing that I will tell all of you to do is to get very clear on who it is that you want to serve. Because a lot of times yoga teachers, they were like, I want to help everybody. Great. You're not meant to be everyone's teacher. Your teacher wasn't meant to be everyone's teacher. And so in that same vein of teaching what you're passionate about, get clear on that. What do you really love to teach? What comes out of you, what naturally. And if you don't know, ask your friends, ask your students. Say, what do you think I should focus on? What do you think my niche or my niche? By the way, I've had literally people from around the world write me and say it's pronounced this way. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So because 90% of the world says niche, I say niche. I don't
Okay.
say niche anymore. Yeah. But again, Colleen is here to serve you guys. And, I thoroughly vetted her, as I spoke to literally, we reached out to about 50 different yoga marketing business coaches across the world. I ended up having conversations with about 8 people, and Colleen was really the one that showed the most sincere, candor, and wanted to step up and really to honor this audience. So again, thank you for stepping up.
Yeah. Thank you for trusting me, Ryan. And thanks for coming on live and continuing to come on live for the next little bit. And I can't wait to really just get started.
Yeah. So please, again, you all, let us know how we can serve you. Tell us what it is like that you want to know, and just be real. I mean, that's
Mhm.
the one thing that I think that people appreciate more than anything, is when people are real. And so it's the same thing for us. Don't sugarcoat your questions. Let us know what you're facing,
Yep.
whatever it is, please be real and try to be a little as specific as you can to your situation and maybe even give us some background. If you don't feel comfortable putting anything in the comments, of course, you can send that to support@modernyogateacher.com and we'll be happy to answer those questions. But please just let us know how we can serve you.
Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you, Ryan. Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone. We'll see you very, very soon.
All right. Be well, everybody. Bye.
And I stopped on Facebook. Oh, here we go. Let me just stop recording.